Martin Popoff from the Contrarians here, back with another solo rant. We're calling this 13 Bands That Hate Their Singer. Yeah, so this has actually turned out to be kind of a good topic because one of my criteria for a good topic is there's actually not a lot. The interesting situation with singers is they're often the leader of the band, they're often the band, they're often the meal ticket for the band. And in most cases, bands do not hate their singer. So, our subtitle here, the idea you've all heard of LSD, lead singer disease, right? So there's a variety of reasons singers get a lot of stick. They might be prima donnas, they might be lazy, they might not write the lyrics, and then the rest of the band wants them to write the lyrics. They might make demands, they might not like the direction of the band, they might phone it in on stage, they might drink a drug too much. There's a lot of reasons bands dislike their singer. So let's go through these 13 here. And we shall discuss in a lot of cases, these bands are still working with these singers, or they broke up and they came back, kind of thing. So I'm going to start with Aerosmith. Aerosmith's a kind of a funny situation where I think you've got a band in Aerosmith that would be making very different albums than if Steven Tyler was getting his way all the time with this band. I mean, I think he is considered a little bit of a difficult guy to work with. We know he's sparred with Joe Perry, but I think all the guys in the band, there is this sense of a divide. Now, obviously, Steven Tyler is he's a great lyricist. He's an incredible frontman. He's a great singer, and he's kept his voice pretty well, which is amazing because now I think he's 75 or something like that, right? He is the band. He's the most important part of the band, absolutely, for sure. But I just feel like there is a bit of a divide. I mean, in interviewing the guys over the years, I get the sense, like I say, he's kind of the guy driving the ballad situation, maybe even overworking a lot of the songs, although we've also heard the laziness factor in the past too, right? We know there was a lot of drugs as well. So there were times when perhaps he was phoning it in a little bit. But yeah, I think this is a situation that warrants putting them on the list. We're actually going in increasing intensity here as we get to the number one. So number 12, Anthrax, Joey Belladonna. Now, Joey's been back in the band forever. We know that. But I definitely remember going through that period with John Bush where the guys would say, he didn't really write very much. He was disinterested. His mind was elsewhere, kind of thing. And I still feel like he doesn't seem truly like the same level of enthusiastic metalhead as the rest of the guys. I still feel there's a divide there. He just seems somehow aloof or away from the Anthrax situation, or he's the guy up there on stage where you think maybe he'd rather be doing something else, kind of thing. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe I get. And it's a lingering vibe from the interviews and hearing the guys disparage him back when John Bush was in the band. Number 11, I've got Styx. We know the famous Dennis DeYoung feud that's gone on all these years, sort of thing. So yeah, there was a big divide there. Dennis perhaps being the guy who pushed the ballad direction at one point. They've got dueling lead singers as well in this band, so that's always going to be a problem. But we know of that one. Number 10, I've got Guns N' Roses. And by the way, just this week, my new Guns N' Roses book came out. Guns N' Roses at 40 looks at 40 career highlights. Just full color throughout. People have been telling me there's a lot of good pictures in here. My editor, Dennis Pernew, does a really good job of, making sure the pictures are thoughtful, and there's some rare stuff people haven't seen before. Anyways, martinpopoff.com for all that. Now, why do I have these guys on the list? So, knowing a fair bit about Guns N' Roses and the way this has all worked over the years, obviously we know there is a divide, and it's not so much that they hate their lead singer. I mean, Axl is so talented and such a great singer, and he's got an incredible voice, and he's a great lyricist, and he loves art, right? He loves the muse, right? But we know that there have been major divides over the years with these guys. Obviously Chinese Democracy is him and not the classic lineup. And, they've had to go off and do other stuff. They've had major feuds over the years. We know Axl has in the past. I think his reputation is much fixed now. And a lot of that had to do with singing for AC/DC and doing such a great job of it. And also just the professional powerful version, no nonsense, pack a lunch, go to work version of the band we have now, Guns N' Roses. I think there's a lot of goodwill back for Guns N' Roses over the years, but we know in the past there's been the riots, there's been the going on late, the petulance. There obviously were knock down, drag 'em out fights with Axl over the years. Number 9, I've got Van Halen. Just legendary, seething hatred back and forth for 2 of the 3 lead singers, really. I mean, there's been Alex, and not mentioning Sammy, and not having much good to say about Sammy in later years, and just the total divide between the brothers and Sammy. We've got the total divide between the brothers and Dave. Not so much lead singer disease with Sammy, although possibly some. I think Sammy, he got a lot of stick for not being all that serious when it came to lyrics in a lot of cases. But I think the brothers are probably the ones who were the difficult ones to live with in that situation. And then we know Dave's very difficult to live with, and he's got various levels and versions of lead singer's disease, I suppose, as well. Yeah, just these guys, their brains are wired completely differently from each other. And then there's poor Mikey in the middle there. And we know in later years he's much more aligned with Sammy, sort of thing. But yeah, definitely, I think Van Halen spent most of their career hating their lead singer, and not so much Gary Cherone, I suppose, right? Number 8, I've got Accept. Now, this is an interesting case. I've just been I'm updating, and we're gonna, new covers, new titles. Quite an update on 5 of my old books through that are coming through Weimer. So we're gonna have the Accept book, the White Snake book, the Merciful Fate book, the Max Webster book, and the Scorpions book, all back in print soon. Yeah, a lot of work, working on those. But yeah, so the Accept situation is, again, it's not so much a seething hatred, but it is definitely a divide, and it's definitely a case where Udo at times seemed quite disinterested. I mean, I think they would have wanted to make it work with Udo all along, and obviously, that he came back at one point as well, but then he was out again. I think Udo, it seems like he would make various demands. There were conflicts with between Accept and festival dates, and the Udo band, the UDO band as well. He never seemed like he was going to be that much of a lyricist in the band. That annoyed the guys. Yeah, it just seems a little difficult to work with. That's the kind of feeling I got throughout a lot of the interviews that I've done with Accept over the years. All right, number 7, I've got Rat. And we know the whole situation here with dueling rats, Stephen Pearcy being difficult. Stephen Pearcy is so important in that band. That guy really deserves a lot more credit for being a great and prolific songwriter of music and lyrics, for that matter. Problem with Stephen is, he's definitely been pretty rough on his body over the years, and his voice. Even in the early days, unfortunately, his frame, his voice, his vocal cords were just not meant to be a lead singer, not built for lead singing. He was never that good at it, right? And he quickly degraded, and then in later years, he was just never that good of a lead singer. So unfortunately, that's the problem. That doesn't mean you can't make absolutely magnificent albums like Infestation. Just the whole catalog's really good, right? Oddly enough, I suppose this is a guy that was made to write and record albums and not really be a lead singer. So yeah, they've had problems with him. Number 6, I have Kansas, because I've been spending some time playing, and looking back how, Steve Walsh is out, Steve Walsh is back. I definitely recall talking to various Kansas members over the years. And yeah, Steve, it seems like there was a definite divide. He was hard to work with. There is the Kerry Livgren and the Christian lifestyle thing that's a fly in the ointment of this whole band as well. But yeah, there just always seemed to be a lot of push, pull, and arguing and problems with Steve Walsh in this band. Number 5, I've got Motley Crue. I think the guys basically put up with Vince, put up with his phoning it in on stage. That's the worst part of it, right? Not training, being overweight, problems. All of these guys are probably hard to deal with, and they seem to have their their ego problems and whatever. It seems like all of them have lead singer disease in this band to some extent. I don't know. Maybe not so much Mick, and maybe not so much Tommy. That's half the band, right? And obviously we know Vince was out only for one Notorious album, the Motley Crue album, which a lot a lot of people think is the greatest Motley Crue album. What does that tell you about what people think of Vince? I don't think there's a lot of goodwill for this band out there in the world, and yeah, I think it's just a business arrangement at this point, and these guys just get along to get along, and to bring in that money and to play those shows, sort of thing. Number 4, I've got Alcatraz. We know all the problems lately. Massive feuding with Graham Bonnet recently, and the great Giles Lavery is their lead singer at this point. There was a lot of he said, she said, back and forth. Graham, I think, can be pretty difficult to deal with. We've seen him in and out of a bunch of situations, but yeah, that's been a recent one that burned pretty hot there for a while. And you imagine that all along the years there was a lot of putting up with him as part of the band, but he's such a super important part of the band. He is the lead singer. He's a great singer. He's a pretty good front man. He's a good lyricist, thoughtful. You know, they come up with good material with him. Okay, number 3, I've got the Smiths. Of course, we know Morrissey is a whole piece of work in himself, a whole philosophy, a whole package, a whole partially flirting with right-wing politics type package as well. Definitely big ego on him, big lead singer disease situation here, and there was a lot of suing going back and forth as well. So forget just the warring or not being able to get it together with Johnny Marr, but the other guys as well. It was even worse with the other guys, right? Number 2, I've got Dead Kennedys. Everything I just said about the Smiths is basically the same thing with Jello Biafra and the rest of the guys. And number 1, I've got Jeff Tate and Queensryche. We know. So this is one that has a lot of everything, or a little bit of everything, to put it at the number 1 spot. We've got a lead singer with a pretty big ego, a lead singer who wants to take the band in another direction. So he's not really all that interested in the kind of music that Queensryche is making. A lead singer that is fighting with the guys, and a lead singer who's definitely, or he's eventually, it actually rises to the level of, legal stuff flying back and forth, and a lot of really harsh words going back and forth. And then we've even got a bonus here with the Scott Rockenfield situation as well, right? So yeah, we've definitely got a band that I think went along and made probably quite a few albums when they were not getting along with their lead singer, sort of thing. So there you've got Queensryche as number 1. So to recap: Aerosmith, Anthrax, Styx, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, Accept, Rat, Kansas, Motley Crue, Alcatraz, the Smiths, Dead Kennedys, and Queensryche. Let us know what you think. If I've got this right, who I missed as well. I'm sure there are some other good ones. Boy, yeah, actually, they're coming to mind now. I could have done a whole pile more, I imagine. But I liked coming up with exactly 13. So like and subscribe, all that good stuff. We've got a Patreon situation. We've got a Ko-Fi. We've got merch. You can go to martinpopoff.com. All these books behind me, these are all mine. I've got about 100 books in print at martinpopoff.com. You can check that out. I sign them, send them out from my office. Here I've got the audio podcast as well, History in 5 Songs with Martin Popoff, and a secondary one I do with John Gaffney, Kicked in the Teeth, an AC/DC podcast. Like I say, there were lots and lots and lots of bands I went through where this isn't the case. So I think it's a good topic because there's really not that many, but I thought it was kind of funny as I was building this to come up. So there you go. 13 bands that hate their singer.